but and that's thankful to Kelly Lee, because the thing is about getting your music. If you don't have the avenue or you don't have the knowledge to get your stuff, you can have a great product. And I mean, I've had some musicians tell me, Chase, you're a national act that's a ghost. You're a national act that's a ghost. And what they were saying, they weren't cutting them. They saying, Chase, you're good. You need to get out there.
Okay.
Out there. In other words, they're saying that you need some way, avenue to get your stuff heard. You're too, you're too good to be hot, not to be heard. And so that's what Kelly's helped me, get me out there. And cause I played all the clubs, major clubs in Nashville. Every place that T2RM's played coming up, I played, and it's really about a national and an international effort, to get it out there and showing people, who you are and what you're about. And but yeah, but along the way, coming from not knowing anybody to now, knowing so many people, in Nashville and beyond, it's just great, and it's true. It just didn't happen overnight.
Nothing ever does. I mean, that's so unusual. And usually the things that happen overnight are not, longevity as far as, music. A lot of people are one-hit wonders, and move on.
Yeah. So even though I'm on Twitter a lot, there's a lot of things that I'm doing off of Twitter, from meetings to, PR meetings to getting ready for studio work, pre-production, for recording new tracking. I mean, there's so much. Getting ready, getting this Indiegogo, up and running and stuff. The video for that, there's just so much work to do, and like you said, to create that longevity, to create that for you got to be real, and if you want to stay around, you have to really do a lot of legwork. And that's from Vince Gill. I mean, Vince Gill was a rock and roller, and I mean, there's a lot of these guys that I can tell you nobody gave him a shot. Vince Gill was one of them, and look at him now. I mean, because the thing is about all these guys, from Tim McGraw to Kenny Chesney to Vince Gill in the country market, they were determined, they had passion, and when the doors were closing on them, they just opened another door. Like I say, I tell people, when the door closes, the next one you kick it down. You don't
wait for it to open.
No, that's right. And that's how I am. And one of the first, believe it or not, one of the first things I ever did here in Nashville, well, it was like 2 years ago. I was asked to do this ASCAP event, which I didn't realize how big it was going to be, but all the main writers were there, from Stevie Nicks to Bad Company to Tim McGraw to, guys, the music that you hear on the radio every day in country music and other genres. There's like 100 of them there. I was the first one. This Australian guy comes in and says, "Mate, you're first." and I went up there and did 3 songs, and they were all, it was like in the morning, and I found out I had to do this like a day before, so I had to put together my guys, and acoustic stuff, and we nailed it, and they loved it, and they just, because being able to be a writer because these are all writers, mind you, being able to be a writer and a performer /performer, I'm able to go into their world, like the Bluebird and things like that, and do that, and also, be a performer too, because I'm a front man, lead vocalist, front man, so I can kind of do both, and that's so cool, and it's a great place to be, to where I can do the writing things, and also the big performances, and that was a great experience. But meeting those guys that have written for like Paul Rogers and wonderful people, and Tim McGraw's guys that have written for him, and Kenny Chesney's, and it was just a great experience. But that's how you got to. When someone asks you to do something, and you do it. I figured it out finally. When someone asks you don't say no. You go do it and just cross your fingers. No, because you just never know,
Yeah,
you just never know. So,
now, besides writing your music and of course singing it, what instruments do you play?
Well, I play trumpet. No, I did play trumpet in high school, but French horn and a lot of other different things. But I play piano, and I play some guitar. And basically those are the instruments that I stick to, and so that's on stage and stuff. I'll be doing a little bit of piano work and stuff, a little bit of guitar, and so that's mainly my two main instruments right now, in my voice and stuff. So I mean, it's basically when I play, I have two guitar players I play with. Usually it's two guitar players, bass player, drummer, and a keyboard player. So it's a six-man act, and it possibly grow from that. That's one thing about music now. It's not for country versus rock and roll. You have 3, 4 guys, 5 guys. In country, I mean, they'll have 7 guys on stage.
Exactly, yeah.
8 guys, because you got so much more to cover, from mandos, to all kinds of instruments. So, but right now I'm usually like 6 guys, 5 guys plus me, and and it's a lot of fun, and it's my shows are high energy. It's more like a rock show, but yet it's still in the country vein of things and stuff. And because believe it or not, a lot of the guys that play for these guys are there's a lot of them that are former pop and rock,
right,
guys, musicians and stuff that you see.
Yeah, and you definitely don't sit at a concert. I mean, I don't. I love to get up and clap and sing and do all that stuff. So. Unless, of course, if it's a classical, concert or an opera or something, you're not going to get up and, dance and sing with the performer.
Right. And so that's what's happened a little bit. You got in Nashville, I mean, it's just not all country now. It's, you got rock and roll, you got pop, you got, I mean, 3 doors down, they live here. Everybody from Peter Frampton to, oh my gosh, there's just so many artists, from the past, and Rick Springfield lives here. I mean, it's just that all the studios are here, here, as far as in Nashville, the country people use, and also the pop and rock people use too. So it's just a lot
of the people you've mentioned, I've actually seen in concert, and Rick Springfield is one that I've followed for many years and seen him in concert, and he actually has been on one of my soap operas that I watched, General Hospital, quite a few times.
Yeah.
He gets around.
Yeah, he does, man. And he's still performing here in Nashville. I think he performs at the Grand Ole Opry sometimes. Or he performs he has places. He's on tour now, I think. But a lot of these guys, they base out here because it's so easy. It's, you said one key thing. It's beautiful here, and it's a good family area. A lot of these guys, they have families now and stuff, and it's a great place, to raise a family for a lot of these. And so it's and it's just such a mecca for musicians and meeting people, as far as not just country, but also rock people. The people in the rock genre and stuff.
Well, I think I need to hang out with you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd have a crazy time.
Don't be surprised when I knock on your door. No, I'm only kidding.
I think a lot of people are going to be knocking my door after this interview.
Yeah.
No, but I do like having fun. I mean, it is a lot. 90% of it is a 95. The best part is meeting the fans, getting to know fans in the time on stage. A lot of it is a lot of hard work and negotiations. I mean, everything from all the bookings to it's a lot of work. New music.
Right.
And it's fun, but it's definitely a lot of work, and it's not just it's an everyday thing, every single day, and sometimes late in the night. And so it's not like you're constantly working. It feels like sometimes, but I love it. I love sharing. It's if you sign up for it, if you like you said, you want longevity, it comes with the show. It comes with doing it, and I love it. I love music from the time I was can remember crawling in church pews. So I've been doing it for years, and it's just natural to keep continuing to do it and meeting people and stuff, and being here in Nashville with guys that walked the line from Johnny Cash to Hank Williams to, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, the people have come through Nashville, and to learn more about them, and because I'm a big Johnny Cash fan.
Oh yeah, who isn't?
Yeah, big Johnny Cash, and go to the old RCA where Elvis recorded and stuff, and it's just like, wow, you know, these people walk these same streets, you know, and that's really cool. And for me, it is, you know, and to the history, you know, from Loretta Lynn.
Oh, sure.
You know, and it's a different, even though it's a different age, you know, and you know, it is still music, you know, and that's one thing. It's just that now we have social media, you know.
That's right.
And it's you still have to write the songs, you still got to sing them, and you still have to reach out to your fans, man, like they did. And it is, it's going back to, like you said, somebody posted and said, some woman said the other day, she said, it's going to be interesting to see you do it the old-fashioned way. And I wrote back to her, I said, hey, man, the old-fashioned rocks. You know, because think about it. The guys that you just mentioned, Johnny Cash, back then people were, like, intimate with their fans.
That's right.
Very intimate. And it's going back to that. It has to go back to that, with what's happening in music. And I love it. You know, I don't have to fight it, you know. Some people might have to say, you know, I'm natural at meeting people. In fact, people have to shut me up sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I do have to tell you that there's an Italian singer that I follow and have followed for about 6 years now, and I've been to probably about 15 of his concerts, mainly in Chicago, some out of state. And after every single concert, he meets with the fans afterwards, and he, you know, signs whatever you bring to him, you know, autographs it, and he says a few words to you. But what means the most is that people like me that are such dedicated fans to him, he remembers us at every single concert. He asks about your family. You know, if you have an ailment, he remembers that and asks how you're doing.
Oh, wow.
And, that's awesome. Huge. That's huge. That keeps you going, you know.
Yeah, heck yeah. I remember Ronnie McDowell.
Yes.
Ronnie McDowell. Okay, he was fat. Well, he still actually performs. I mean, he's a great performer. He's back right after Elvis. He kind of sounded like Elvis. He was right. Well, I did a party for him, and they asked me to do it just like 6 months ago. And I got to meet him, and I got to meet Elvis's Fontana, his drummer. You know,
oh, wow.
Elvis' drummer was there, and they watched him perform, and also the Jordanaires. Some of the guys from Jordanaires were there. All these people that were like from Sun Records and stuff, and it was incredible. All these, you know, people that have been in the music business and stuff, but one thing I noticed when these guys perform, because they perform, they're great performers, and they were hilarious. I mean, they're just, you don't see that anymore. I mean,
no,
that's
true.
These guys were just, they had the crowd in their hands, and I was just like in awe, and they was just, to me, the Jordanaires, and you, I know you're probably familiar with them. They, you know, they did all the Elvis stuff. It was really funny because I met the one guy who's the most recorded from the Jordanaires. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he's the most recorded voice ever of any genre of music ever. I walked up. This is an 83-year-old man now. He told me, he said, I tell you what, anybody that, he said this about Elvis. He said, anybody that says anything about Elvis, just tell them he was 100 times nicer than anybody ever knew. And I looked at him and I said, you know what, man? You're part of history. And he goes, he looks at me, he goes, son, one call, you'll be history. and you know, he was just laughing because, you know, I was like, you know, I was like in awe, man. This guy knew Elvis, sung with him, traveled with him, you know, but to them people, I tell you what, those guys like Elvis's drummer, DJ Fontana, oh my gosh, you know, they're such nice individuals, and so was Ronnie, man, you know, and it's just really an honor to meet people that were part of the early history of music, you know, and it's in awe, you know, these guys perform in front of millions of people, and they're on records that millions and millions of people all over the world have heard, you know, and it's just, they're the nicest people in the world. And that's one thing I've noticed. Most people in Nashville are truly nice. In the industry are really, really nice. The songwriters, the studio guys, they're just wonderful, wonderful people. And so that's one thing that I can say that I really, really dug about meeting people along the way. and the knowledge that they